Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
Today, we actually have time to bleed, and we're going to be covering Predator from 1987.
That's an ominous way to start.
I've got some work to do after the podcast tonight, so I'm not drinking. I'm just drinking beer.
That's fair enough.
You son of a bitch.
He got married with the Predator military cut on.
Military cut.
Yes.
And he said everybody was like looking at him like, what the hell?
They're just like mowing down all these trees. It looks like they're getting ready to put in a Dollar General.
His name was Billy.
Oh, I thought he was Indian Companion in this.
Hello, Indian Companion.
Someone coming.
I'm gonna find the waterfall scenes, and I'm gonna put the Baywatch theme over it.
Some people stand in the darkness.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
Son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Shadwick.
All right, cool. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast that no one asked for. Today, we actually have time to bleed, and we're going to be covering Predator from 1987.
That's an ominous way to start.
How long do you bleed? Like 5 to 7 days?
Well, I'm sorry, Wendy, but I just don't trust anything that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
So, think of old Mr. Garrison. Anyway, guys, I want to start off today's podcast and actually talk about quality arcades. You guys have seen my cab that I just got, the Be Kind, Let's Rewind theme cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know that I have been looking for a retro arcade cabinet for probably 15 freaking years. Finally landed on this. These guys did like a custom job. Full disclosure, we are not sponsored by these people. Was able to make us or get us an affiliate. So, I mean, this is all, speaking from the heart, but I'll throw some pictures in here of what the cab looks like, maybe some gameplay or whatever, but we'll have the link going forward in our description. So if you're looking for a retro cab, man, it's got guns, it's got track balls, it's got 4 players, it's got all the things that you need.
9 yards, dude.
I didn't even know it had the guns.
Yeah, man. We were playing some Deer Hunter and Lethal Enforcers. Actually, like we're talking about Arnold today, we were playing Terminator.
Oh, shit.
Patrolman. Yeah, dude.
I actually almost bought the Terminator arcade game to put in my basement.
Oh,
dude.
But I was like, it's just one game,
Yeah, and this one only has, I think it's like it's not a lot. It's like 21,000 games. Like, so it's not a ton. But anyway, like I said, if you're in for a retro cab, please check them out. Located in the States, customer service impeccable. They can do custom cabs, as you'll see in the pictures I sent. So anyway, if you order through our link, it helps us out by helping you out. So there it is. We're sellouts now. So guys,
21,000. That's Ukraine numbers. That's almost overkill.
It's almost, but not quite. Speaking of Ukraine and Russia, I believe I was listening to this 90s documentary. I think it was Boris Yeltsin or whatever. Apparently was a big fan of the alcohol, which leads us over to
Get out of the street, you fucking bum!
That's right.
Yes.
Get out of the street. So this week, I am rocking some 4 Walls. I would hold the bottle up, but it's got green on it. Again, the guys from Always Sunny, their whiskey. Check it out. It is a solid purchase, especially if you can get free shipping. It's maybe in your area. I don't know where you're listening from. But if you can find it, solid whiskey, decently priced. So go for that. Shadwick, what do you got there, brother?
I've got some work to do after the podcast tonight, so I'm not drinking. I'm just drinking beer.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
It's like I think my uncle used to tell me that my grandfather would sober up with beer.
It runs in his family, folks.
No, I'm actually going through the second case of this Sam Adams summer beers.
The Costco one, right?
Yeah, and I was outside for a few minutes before we started. I had some grading done in my yard a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
I was trying to get things to lay better and grow some grass out there. I noticed I've got water hoses ran everywhere with sprinklers, and I have to go out there periodically and just like move them around. Mm-hmm. And then I catch myself just like standing out there with my hand on my hips, like an 80s TV dad,
staring at your work that you've done.
Yard.
Oh, dude, 100%. Anytime I mow the grass, especially if I weed eat, I look at that and I'm like, "Well done, pig. That'll do. That'll do, pig."
So, I also look at my yard.
That's what Leaf's wife says every time he eats too.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Hey, she does. She does. I also look at my yard when the Mexican immigrants are done mowing it and taking care of it to perfection. I sit with my hand on my hip and I drink a little bit of Shanky's Whip, dude. I'm having
what in the world?
Why are you're holding it like pepper spray?
Yeah, because I want the green screen not to slap it, dude.
That was pretty good. Don't worry, I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it in post like I have to fix Shadwick's every week. Actually, this week you did a good job, man. You actually we could see your beer, Shadwick.
Yeah, it looks
what
clean.
is okay?
It's
tell
really
me
clean.
what is Shanky's Whip?
Shanky's Whip, made in Ireland, dude. It's got a drunk ass dude with an emu and a cart, like pulling a cart. Like it's a smooth Irish whiskey, a little bit of extra. It's made in Ballyborough, Ireland.
Huh.
And you could try on the.
So it's just whiskey.
I mean, it's Shanky's Whip, dude. We're doing the Shanky leg tonight, man.
The shanky leg.
You're not doing any leg stuff. So, all right. So let's go over into our topic this week.
I ain't got time to bleed.
I believe you said this one ranks top 3 all time with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this movie we're talking about today is an absolute top 3 for me. It's not just an action movie. It's not just a science fiction movie. It's not just a horror movie. It's all of the above and then some. It is Predator 1987.
How messed up is this too, man? As we were like, we got to get another one in. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, after this, you may or may not see our early 90s crushes. We'll see if that's going to be safe for Patreon or not. We'll see what Chris can do in editing. Got a little dicey in there. But if this one, so we were like, hey, man, we got to get another one out.
Hatchet wound.
Yeah. We were like, we got to get another one out. And then so we're like, we'll do Predator. And we agreed on it like 3 days ago. And I'll be damned the day before we record if it wasn't, the anniversary of it from 87. And I was like, holy shit. Like,
dude, how many years has it been? 87 to 20. What's the math on that?
30.
Can I get some
37?
I know that because Batman 89 is about to turn 35.
That's stupid. 37 years since Predator was released. The Shanky leg.
Leaf can probably tell you how to use that whiskey to make some type of an old-fashioned cough
medicine.
Right.
Cough medicine.
I can't do it, man. I am skilled in the ways of Appalachian medicine.
So where do you guys first remember seeing Predator? Because I can say without a doubt, I saw it at your house, Leaf. This used to be like a mainstay at your house, right?
Yes, it was. It used to come on TV, actually, believe it or not, back in the day.
Yeah,
pretty regularly.
I think this. I've said it before, but I think this is another like Sunday afternoon Fox movie that I saw.
Really,
I've been thinking about this all week. I think maybe Arnold got on my radar from Terminator 2. Mm-hmm. So it might have been 92 before I saw this.
Before you saw it.
Yeah,
it would have been early 90s before I saw it too, because I mean it didn't hit TV. It couldn't hit TV till 89 or 90.
I can tell you,
and the first version that I saw saw it on TV after I saw it at least, but I think like we were in passing, so I didn't really sit down and watch it at your house. But you had Like, didn't you have the VHS or something? Or
Well, we did, and I can tell you exactly who I got it from. So the first time I saw this movie was at my rich friend Trey's house.
oh yeah,
And his dad had like HBO, he had Skinemax, he had like all the channels. So for those of you who don't remember, like you had some money if you had this shit when you were in
get
the
a
80s.
satellite or something, right? Also,
He did.
to tell you how rich this friend was, he had the GI Joe battleship,
Yes.
the folklore toy that was as big as a fucking table. This kid had that. So
Yes.
That's-
He had the swimming
that's how
pool
either
in
rich
his
they were
backyard.
or in debt. I'm not really sure which.
I can't. It's hard to decide, but I saw it in his den in his basement. His father had a collection of HBO VHS that he just would like record commercial free, not like the rest of us plebs who had to watch television, edited TV. No, this was like the full movie,
Right.
like recorded from HBO, like on his home entertainment, theater, like wood grain. Panel,
dude.
like big screen TV, dude, which is probably all of 35 inches.
I'm sure that I saw it on like network TV first because at some point when I saw the full version, I was like, where do these fucking skinned bodies come from?
Dude, same here. Same here. Now, I probably
Really?
and I watched it partially at your house. Like I said, that's the first time I was introduced to it.
Yeah.
But like, I probably didn't watch this movie unedited till I was in 94, 95, 96, somewhere in there. Yeah. Where I actually saw the gore and stuff and all that. So when you first watched this, Leaf, again, this is a top 3 for you. Were you just immediately sucked in?
I was absolutely terrified of this movie. Like this is what nailed. And obviously, I had seen Commando. Like that was in the collection of my friend's dad as well. Like we watched Commando, we watched Running Man. Also, I love both of those movies. Extreme
Definitely
classics.
doing those.
This is we will 100%. I'm in for that. This movie is the one that was like I could not get it out of my brain. Like this is the one where I was like I was terrified,
Brain,
dude. But it was also everything that those movies were with 80s action.
Yeah,
but it just stood apart with the science fiction. It had just other elements to it that to me makes it like Schwarzenegger's finest 80s movie.
When you go back and watch this as an adult, everything makes so much sense. Like, when I was like just looking for gore or looking for whatever, or terrified of the monster. Now when I go back and I watched it twice this week just because it's so good, and I wanted to refresh my memory, but I was like, holy shit. And there's not an assload of dialogue. There's a lot being said with not a lot of dialogue,
It is
a lot of
so
reactionary.
I'm going to talk about it.
Did you guys even get it when we were kids about how Dylan had set them up?
No,
Like,
had no idea.
Yeah.
I probably watched the movie 30 times and I never picked it up because I was a kid. All I knew is there was an alien hunting these soldiers. That's all I understood. I didn't get any of the nuances until way later.
Well, let's jump in this motherfucker.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Because I was about to say I got some boring
ass facts.
Dude, the quick synopsis of the movie before we do that is, let's see, Predator, 1987. A team of special force ops led by Major Dutch Schaefer are ordered to assist Colonel Al Dillon, a CIA asset, with a rescue mission in a South American jungle. It's not really specific exactly where.
Dylan, what a son of a bitch!
What a son of a bitch!
Not all is as it seems, as they discover they've been sent there under false pretenses, which becomes the least of their worries as they begin being systematically hunted by something not of this world. God, it's such a good movie. Directed by John McTiernan, written by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, and produced by Lawrence Gordon, Joel Silver, producer on Commando, by the way, and John Davis. So this movie this movie's budget, was 15 to 18 million. The box office total was 98.3 million,
which is wild,
and which is crazy. It's made a sick amount of money.
It's a bit of profit there.
Yeah, a bit of profit too.
I mean, it's not like the all-female Ghostbusters did, but
it's not as good as that,
and my favorite part though is that the runtime is. I looked at it and calculated it like to make sure The runtime from credits to credits is 1 hour and 43 minutes, almost exactly.
So they hit right under that 145. So you get the 5 showings a day thing.
There it is.
Look at that insight from these theater guys here. You're not going to get that from any other podcast. You also you're not going to get some burnouts that worked at a theater and drank after hours in a building. Don't give 19-year-old keys to a building, idiots.
The 515 is really paying off right about now.
Did you guys ever go up on the roof and do anything?
I didn't. I was handicapped. I couldn't get to the roof, so
we'll visit that in some Patreon content. So I've got a couple of facts here from Arnold's book. Went back and listened.
A couple of what?
Huh?
A couple of what?
Facts?
We'll get to that.
Car facts?
You're gonna have to enunciate the K sound on that.
So Arnold got married in the middle of filming this.
Did he really?
Yep. To Maria. Some of the other facts. So he had to show up with the military crew cut. He said that on their wedding night.
Is that a thing? You said it twice.
Yeah.
He got married with the Predator military cut on.
Military cut.
Yes.
And he said everybody was like looking at him like, what the hell? And the stunt guys, because he's in the movie, right? So he's about to get married. So everybody on that set, like they're buddied up. So of course they're all guests at the wedding. The stunt dudes, he tells about in his book that he's like, we go back to our room, have a glass of wine. I believe his words were, I was like, okay, we're going to get a little action tonight. And the stunt dudes had put like fake frogs in the bathroom. So when Maria went in the bathroom, she like freaked the fuck out. They didn't know she has like this phobia. And then he was like, needless to say, they got me good. And there was no action happening.
Wait, she has a frog phobia?
Or it was frogs or snakes. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was snakes. Either way, they put something in there like a prop, scared the shit out of her. She was pissed off as fuck. Arnold laughed about it in his book. He was like, you got me. Damn
it. Beautiful.
Yeah, so it was good shit. We got some more that we'll sprinkle in as we go, but that was like out of the gate. I was like, that's pretty fucking funny that he had to like get married with the fucking Predator haircut.
The cut, dude.
It would have been even better if he just had the makeup on too while he went and got married. Like, just go, baby.
As soon as they say I do, he's like, God, that is actually so cool.
All right, man. So how does this bitch start off?
Dude, man, scene for scene, this movie wastes no time going at it. It's 5 seconds into the film, and then you already see an alien spaceship, like sort of like kind of sailing past Earth, and you see a pod or some sort of like little tiny meteorite special effect, like what you would know. Even in the 80s, we understood like something is coming from the spaceship.
Little escape pod.
Yeah, a little skate. Yeah, like a
little
but it makes you forget about it. That happens so quick in the beginning, and there's dialogue, there's setup. They're going to do what they're going to do, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh shit! When it finally happens, you're like, oh.
Yeah, like
that's what that was.
Yeah, there's subtle hints like throughout the movie about what's happening before the action really gets kicked in. But Chris is right; you forget about that because it's such a very minute thing that happens in the very beginning of.
I noticed
the movie.
The second time when I watched it back this week, that was a glaring stood out to me. Like it's when you watch the movie the first time, you go back and see it again, you start noticing a bunch of shit or whatever. Like watching it again, I was like, that's pretty smart.
I'll tell you what I noticed when I watched it was I had the subtitles on, and whatever that like cackling, purring noise is that the Predator does, the subtitles calls it wickering.
Yes, and also what's great too, which we'll get to it later, but when the lady in there is speaking Spanish, like in today, it would be like it would say verbatim what she's saying in Spanish. And the subtitles for this movie just says speaking Spanish. Yeah.
Because the dialogue doesn't matter because she's a female and it's the 80s. I mean, actually, I
bet that tastes good.
This is one of the movies that, unfortunately, after I went on my last tirade about there being strong female characters all throughout the 80s, this is the one where there's just like an absolute just token like hot girl, like unfortunately. But
Yeah, but there's no love interest. Like it makes sense. Like it sets a plot point, you know.
It actually does because, well, yeah, well, we'll go into it, but she actually does serve a purpose in the plot that matters. And which, on a side note, like a lot of critics tore this movie to shreds, and they're so stupid. Like even looking back, they're so stupid that they missed a lot of the nuances in this movie. And it's so
stupid,
obvious.
Billy.
You're so stupid, Billy.
To go back and read their reviews, it's comical how dumb they are.
This is when we get the iconic scene too. Like I'll skip ahead a little bit to scene 3, but like the iconic
Dylan! You son of a bitch!
with Carl Weathers, which we touched on in our Carl Weathers RIP episode. What kind of led up to that? Carl had it was actually a sweater that he owned, made sure it was pretty tight so it showed off the biceps, cut the sleeves off. The director said Arnold will pay for it, and he was like, all right, let's go. And you know, which I always think of Chadwick too. One of Chadwick's lines is always like, you've been pushing too many pencils. That was one of his go-tos.
I mean, you get that, like the iconic, like, you know, the handshake flat, and you know, everybody in the jungle sweats baby oil.
Yeah.
So they're like glistening. But then like the camera goes up and you see like back and forth with Arnold and
like,
Carl.
Yeah, they're like arm wrestling, right?
Yeah. And you can tell like Arnold's getting the best of him.
Yeah.
He's just got that like shitting grin on his face. You know?
That he's not trying, but he's like beating him. He's just like, it's fucking great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. And I mean, so what you've got here basically is you see a team of elite mercenaries landing in somewhere in South America. Yes, Arnold runs into his old buddy, ex-military friend,
Dylan.
Al Dillon, played by Carl Weathers, the legend. And yeah, they're just old friends, and immediately you can feel the chemistry. Like you immediately. But also somehow, like credit to Carl Weathers, you can already tell there's some tension there, and it's not just with their mid-air arm wrestling match, which is badass because it shows off both of their insane physiques. I mean, even as a kid, I was like, I need to be this, right? Like,
my interpretation was always that they were both soldiers, but Dylan went into the CIA,
right?
And I guess soldiers kind of see like government people as
pencil pushers.
They were sellouts, man. They was exactly what they were.
Sellouts.
Like soldiers, and that they actually lay it all out in a conversation because Dylan actually is like, "Why didn't you go to Afghanistan and do this one mission?" And you're kind of like, you don't understand what they're really talking about. But Arnold's basically like, "We're not assassins. Like we're a rescue team. We go and get people out. We don't execute civilians and kill people."
Great acting. And again, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch our tribute to Carl Weathers in our archives. But like his facials in this, he tells a story with his face, and you can see that tension with his face without him saying a fucking word. And especially when you go back and watch it the second time, you pick up all that nuance when you know what's coming. You're like, oh God, he was brilliant. Brilliant fucking actor.
Is a thing of beauty, and the script is, again, there's no fat in this script. You immediately understand the difference between their two characters. Dylan is instantly like, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get the job done, and Arnold's like, I have scruples, you know, I will kill when we have to, but like I am the good guy here.
Which leads us to his band of misfit toys in here. Led by a slack-jawed personnel, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Dude, take notes, anyone making movies. This is how you do character development in a freaking 2-minute helicopter ride.
Dude, amazing.
You know almost
little dialogue, all motion, facials, emotion, interaction. Like you said, you learn everything you need to know about these dudes in a less than 2-minute helicopter ride.
To the tune of Little Richard's Long Tall Sally, baby. Immediately, dude. Jesse the Body is probably one of the most standout characters. He almost steals the show for me. he is such a good character. He's a tobacco chewing meathead.
Yeah.
And just a sort of like the honest to God redneck, by God, like good old boy.
I kind of always didn't like him very much because he reminded me a lot of family members I had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people that felt the exact same way as you, that he's almost too close to home because he's just,
but
again,
watching it back now, I enjoy knowing who Jesse is and just knowing it, like viewing it as a movie now and not like reminding me of clan family members or something.
Yeah. I'm not talking about my family calling people
Bunch of slack-jawed faggots around here.
no one would take the chaw, man. That's what they were, dude.
Look.
The truth of the matter is that this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus.
It's, you know,
just like him.
Yes.
Because he was the alpha male of this entire show. Also, by the way, he has a gigantic minigun. Like his character has and he calls Old Painless. Did y'all remember that?
I did not, but that's amazing. Yeah.
He calls it Old Painless.
Well, as you should, you know.
Because when you get shot, you don't even feel anything. You're just dead.
Don't feel like you're just dead. Yeah. Just brilliant, man. Because he actually whispers. The only time you know is like he whispers it right before he gets unceremoniously murdered by the predator, because he says something to the effect of, you know, Old Painless is gonna, just be quiet. Old Painless is coming for you, or something to that effect. And it's
nice.
just, dude, it's
so round out the rest of this misfit cast that we have.
So you also have Bill Duke as Mac, the grizzled vet, who's one mission away from actually losing it, and he does. Spoiler alert. And he likes to shave himself with a straight razor.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's so weird, but it's so beautiful.
So do you know that he like ad-libbed or improv that?
No.
Like he's supposed to be sitting there shaving, but he actually like cut himself. And
wow.
And
he was pushing so hard, did it on purpose, though.
Yeah,
man.
But he was supposed
to maniac.
He was supposed to just be like in a trance, like he's looking off into the jungle because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and and this life takes a toll on you.
Very true. So he's sort of like the guy, and he's actually Jesse Blaine, Jesse the Body's like sort of best friend. You don't really learn about that till later on. There's not really a camaraderie till after Blaine gets killed. But you also have Richard Chavez as Poncho. He's a translator and explosive expert. That's really all you need to know about him. You have Shane Black as Hawkins. He's just the dude with glasses. That's just it.
So you guys know who Shane Black is, right?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wrote like Lethal Weapon, Kiss Kiss Bang
Holy
Bang.
shit! Really?
Yeah, he was actually working on Lethal Weapon, and they brought him on board because they thought they wanted script rewrites like as production was going
for Predator.
They wanted him to like bump up dialogue or whatever.
I had no idea, dude.
So that's the reason they had him there, and they ended up not touching the script.
He plays such a good character though, and like I even know I was like kind of roasting him because he's just a nerd with glasses, sort of like
he asked his wife. He said he wish he had a little pussy.
She said, me too! Mine's as big as a house!
And he had to explain the joke because no one laughed.
Listen,
genius.
Just to show his writing ability and talent, Shedwick.
Jeez, you got a big pussy.
Yeah.
Play the thing. Damn it, play the thing right now.
I bet that tastes good.
Yes. And finally, we've got Sonny Landham as Billy, the stoic Native American tracker, except for when he laughs like a fucking maniac. It's like one of the biggest sound bites from this show.
Oh,
and obviously,
what was his name?
His name was Billy.
Oh, I thought he was Indian Companion in this.
Oh, look, it's our Indian friend, Indian Companion.
Hello, Indian Companion.
Someone coming.
He is Indian Companion.
Someone coming.
He is, dude. It's still so funny, man. Like, I love this character even as a kid.
He is.
Dude.
He's
having Native American heritage, I was like, This is the guy. And all these dudes, the 90% of them, not so much Shane Black's character or even Chavez, Richard Chavez's character, but they're yoked, man. Like Billy is shredded. He's a very large man.
Can we just call him? Can we call him Engine Joe?
We can. We absolutely can.
How terrible is it too? Though, it's like you're like, man, I'm in pretty good shape. Like I'm ready to go do this movie, and you're like, yeah, who are the stars in this? You're like, oh, it's Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're like, God damn it.
Oh yeah, and it's like in supporting character, Jesse the Body Ventura, who's just fucking
like,
yoked.
shit.
By the way, I'd be like, yeah, if I was Sony, I'd be like, damn it,
all natural.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Ventura was.
All of them were obviously right. Like evidently.
Absolutely.
One of the back logged facts. Carl Weathers was interviewed and said that this is so funny. This just shows the mentality, especially in the 80s and probably even now. Shabbat can speak to this, but but Carl Weathers wanted to appear natural. So when the guys were all working out, and by the way, Arnold had a weight set and an entire gym flown to Mexico where they were filming.
Yep.
And he would work out like before or after all the other guys, because they would all work out before the filming of the day, especially Arnold. He had obviously an insane work ethic, but Carl Weathers had tried to appear like so naturally just fit. He didn't want to see anybody else work out, so he would work out by himself, and get it in.
You know what's funny is I saw a thing from Carl that said this. So the same thing, where they're all in the gym or whatever. You're not going to get to the gym before Arnold. He learned that. So he's like, fuck it. I've got this 5-mile run. I'm going to do this 5-mile run. And so he does this 5-mile run. He's on his way back and he sees Arnold. And then the next day, Carl goes out to go do the 5-mile run at the same time. And Arnold's coming back. So Arnold had got up earlier to go beat. And then Carl's like, man, we got to chill the fuck out. We're going to kill each other. Stop, man.
Do you know what that reminds me of, too? That reminds me of when Joe Rogan did his, fitness challenge. Do you guys remember that? Him and his friends, the other comedians, Bert Kreischer.
Oh, Sober October?
Yeah, yes. One of the first ones they did. And they nearly killed themselves. Joe Rogan was doing, I remember he did an 8-hour, I think it was a cardio session.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yes.
He said he would just watch John Wick back to back, and his gym or whatever was I think he said it was in his basement, and he got so hot. I don't know if this is true or not, but he says that it set off the sprinklers.
Oh wow!
It set off the smoke alarm because there was so much steam coming from his body, and I believe it. I don't see any reason why he would lie, because he actually is a maniac. He actually is, and I know the people. So he was scared that some of these guys were actually going to kind of supersede him, and he's just so competitive. And this is just how it is.
That's what Carl said though. Arnold was the guy. He said Stallone was kind of the same too. When you get masculine guys like that on set, he's always referred to as a healthy competition. It helps keep each other sharp or whatever. But it's fun. It's fun for those dudes. And after this, we start to have our. This is our guerrilla camp attack, right, Leaf?
And for all intents and purposes,
and that's gorilla, not gorilla.
That's a huge difference.
Yes,
huge. So they land in the jungles for the mission, as per Carl Weathers' character explains. Listen, we're going to go rescue this foreign dignitary or this cabinet member who's crash landed, and that's why Arnold's team is called in. They land there in the jungle, and immediately it's just absolutely fucking creepy. The music is creepy. You can't see anything because of the bush, the thick, they're filming in Mexico.
Did you see that bush?
It is the biggest bush.
They immediately find the helicopter carrying the cabinet member crashed, and the pilots are just executed with a single bullet to the skull.
Yeah.
Professional style.
Okay, so I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the Predator shot down the helicopter?
I do.
Or was that the guerrilla soldiers?
It's basically 100% Predator, because Arnold mentions it, because when they're figuring it out, right? They're like, okay,
they couldn't figure out what it was shot down with, right?
Poncho says it was shot down most likely with heat-seeking technology.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's how you realize and then Arnold says the obvious question: how do these jungle rebels have heat-seeking tech? And Dylan's just like, I don't know. And Arnold's like, okay,
You
like
son of
we
a bitch.
know you son of a bitch, Dylan. Yeah, and so he knows. So you do know that the Predator shot down, like in hindsight, he shot down that helicopter.
So what is the real mission that that Dylan has in there for?
So Dylan actually, as we go forward, we learn the truth. Dylan has set them up to go in and gather intel and execute some high priority targets, which Arnold, we learned in the very beginning from his character and his conversation with the general and Dylan that they don't take those kinds of missions. Him and his team, his men are really close. And that's one thing that this movie does, I think, better in a shorter amount of time, better than any movie I've ever seen. It sets up the camaraderie between these soldiers.
Yeah,
you can feel that they know each other. They are very tight knit. They each have an individual character, the diversity,
and they have a strength within the group, and also like you can see they don't trust outsiders. I mean, with Jesse spitting on Carl's boots or whatever, and he's like, nasty, and even or whatever.
And like, Mac too. Mac tells Carl with his character that if he makes noise and give away their positioning, he's going to bleed him quiet.
Yeah.
Like basically kill him with a knife for those uninitiated to action films. Like,
I'll have fun gutting you, boy.
Yeah.
They do not like Carl and they don't trust him. And for obvious reasons, because he instantly betrays them. And you find out he brought him into this mission to just gather, like I said, gather intel and, for other purposes. And they don't just kill. Like they rescue, they kill when they out of self-defense, and like I said, they're the good guys. They're the movie version, R-rated version A-team.
A-team,
actually what they are.
And this is too like whenever they land, this is when they end up finding who is it that is completely skinned.
It's okay. So this is another point. There's another team another Green Beret team that actually Arnold and Dylan knew that were skinned alive. And so Arnold's like, what was this team doing here? These guys are dead. They're hanging from the tree without any skin. It's horrific. Yeah. And Billy finds them, and it's just this horror movie scene where, you find these guys and
Billy's like, they don't have any scalps.
I can't even take any, dude.
Well, I mean, Mac too, like at the scene of that line that stuck out to me was like, that's no way for like a soldier to die. Like a soldier shouldn't die like that. Like he's real fucked up about it. And like you said earlier, he is an eyelash away from just fucking killing the world.
In the very beginning, he's on the helicopter and he's shaving himself, and you're like, this guy's insane. And he is absolutely crazy. And so you get to the scene
he's
where
like one more razor away from David Koresh.
So when they're sneaking up on this camp, right?
Yeah, they decide to complete the mission. There's nothing else for them to do, so they go to the guerrilla camp.
Because they still think that like this camp did all this. They skinned them. They did all this shit.
They think it's these guerrillas in the South American guerrillas and rebels that are doing all this horrific shit.
For some reason, they're fucking Russian. Like with the 80s movies, we always had to throw some fucking Russian bad guys in there. Even though we're in South America.
It was the Cold War. The Russians were everywhere, bro. They were behind every bush, dude.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Russian colonel in this was our buddy LaFours.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah,
God, dude.
Another good call by Shadwick.
Damn it, dude.
Sven Ole Thorson or something like that?
Man.
Beautiful. Man,
well
dude.
done.
How many confirmed kills did he have again? Was it 2? From Mallrats, yeah. But so they have no choice because they still think they're rescuing hostages. Dutch and his team attack the guerrilla camp, and we get the classic 80s bad guys get ripped to shreds, Rambo style.
It's funny that you say that because I actually have a fun fact for this. Arnold in his book talks about purposefully having more or less death toll battles with Stallone because Rambo 2, I think, was before this. And then, so this one was pretty gory. And then, Rambo 3, I think, just fucking blew everything out of the water where it's like, all right, you
Rambo's
win.
So I had to have watched this somewhere around, between, 10 and 12 years old because I remember Did you guys ever like play war with your friends? Like,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
had like the little clicking machine guns or whatever.
Mhm.
I remember back behind my friend's house, there were some woods, and there was like this big ravine, and we were back there playing, and I kept seeing like people would get falling down that ravine, like trying to walk down, they would fall, whatever. So I did like the head first, like belly crawl, like Arnold did, and I remember them being like, how the fuck did you even think of that? And I was like, Predator.
Yeah.
Of course,
and
dude.
And I did it again years later playing paintball.
And
Oh my god, dude! That was one of the
awesome.
classic. Yeah, like that's exactly what you get here. You got grenades. You got dudes getting torn to shreds with bullets.
how about the fucking car? Like when he cuts the Jeep loose with the bomb in it, like it's just fucking. And they're like, "What's he doing?" Yeah, bomb. They're like, you better get that out of your system before Monday. He
hates that shit too.
Yeah,
You're like, he's
you hate that too. So he cuts it loose. It's got the bomb in there, man. It fucking blows up. Like the whole scene is like, throws you get the
throws a
iconic
knife in a guy and it sticks him like he goes
Stick
through
around.
him
Stick around.
and then you have like Jesse Ventura, and he's like, "Dude, you're bleeding." And he's like,
I ain't got time to bleed.
my favorite line of the movie.
I think the stick around was improvised.
"Oh yeah, it was." Really? This is when he started. I don't know if this may have been one of the first ones that he started doing that kind of shit in. I mean, he had him in Terminator.
When was Running Man?
It was close.
Before this.
Yeah, it was close. So like, because Terminator, he did talk about like the "I'll be back," like that became such a big line, and he had no idea, and he started to in his head understand like the formulaic value of these one-liners here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I bet it was ad lib. But anyway, so they just
and we'll get to what may be his most famous.
Oh yeah, well,
came from this movie too.
Yeah, later on. But man,
he has
so
a bunch of ones.
So they in quick fashion fucking wax these bros out, and they're dead.
Yeah, they're all absolutely murdered in epic fashion. And
then he sees old Dylan over there rifling through some papers, and it's like
basically, and the cat's
it's like you
Cat's
said
out of the bag.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag.
Set us down in a meat grinder.
This is exactly. We're like 15, 20 minutes in the movie, and it's already over with. Like, nobody trusts Dylan for obvious reasons. And he comes out of the closet. Dylan doesn't even, when he finally gets caught, he's basically like one of the hardest lines in the movie is like when he's telling, he is telling Arnold like the way that it is. He's like, "You're an asset. I use you to get the job done, and that's all you are." Yep. Like I am
and
not your friend.
Did he say you're expendable, an expendable asset? Like
we all are expendable.
And then and Arnold says, he says, "My men are not expendable."
Yeah. Arnold is still like the
meanwhile, how many movies?
Yeah,
Arnold, the Expendables has he?
Yeah, Stallone's like, "Oh, wait a minute, maybe we can do something with this." Make that movie, you son of a bitch!
Arnold's character is obviously pissed. I mean, but what else? Can he do? They're in the
shit then, right?
It's too late.
So you got to get out. So now
you got to get out, right? So they try to
wait.
We haven't even talked about any.
This is what I mean. Yeah, this is what I mean though. So
Predator.
that fucking small clip in the very beginning of the movie, we're 20 something minutes in.
Yes.
There's violence. There's Jesse Ventura. There's slack-jawed. There's sexual tyrannosauruses,
explosions. There's pussy jokes.
There's no time to bleed. I mean, fuck. And then you're like, this is about a fucking alien.
When you edit this, can you separate pussies and bleeding? Because I don't want that.
You don't want those together.
I just don't trust anything that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
It's triggering.
They think that it's been a successful mission or whatever, even though it's not a mission that they wanted to be on.
Yeah, no, it's over though.
They got this woman in tow now,
which Arnold doesn't want to take. He's like, no, they're going to leave her. And then,
but Dylan says that she's valuable or whatever. So they're in the camp. They're relaxing or whatever. And little do they know that they're being watched from
the only one that knows
up in the trees.
The only one that knows is Indian Companion, and he says,
Indian Companion,
"Someone coming." Which that's fucked up. You have that in your notes because, like, I actually didn't read your notes. So, it's great minds think alike. Good job.
Absolutely. Hey, well done to you too, sir. Correct. The only one who really kind of senses something is off more than anybody. Now, everyone is kind of getting a sense. It's not just Indian Companion because the rest of the team knows. The rest of the team knows that, like, this isn't. They've been on missions before, man. They've all been. They've fought together. They've bled together. They, it's not natural for you to skin an enemy combatant skin and hang him upside down. So they're all kind of like, what is going on? But any companion knows there's something else happening. It's just almost supernatural. Yeah, about what's happening. He senses somebody watching them.
All Native Americans are so like in tune with Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. They can smell that. They can smell that shit on the wind. He knows.
You can,
like,
dude.
I can't count the amount of times that me and Leaf were out drinking. He'd fall out of his wheelchair, and then I'd be like, "Shit, man, you okay?" And he'd put his ear to the ground, and he's like, "Someone coming." I'd be like, "Will you get back in your fucking chair?"
Downtown, there's people everywhere.
He'd say someone come, and then he'd go, "Oh."
It takes a lot out of you, trust me.
It does,
me.
It does. So,
yeah.
All right. So we got John Redcorn staring off into the jungle.
Yes. And we started getting these scenes, and it happened a little before this too. But we started getting these scenes of
infrared,
or like heat.
Like it's meant to be splotchy and whatever. Like that still holds up today. Like this movie,
it does
practical effects wise, because there's a little I don't know if it would be called CGI, like the cloaking, which is supposed to be a little hokey, but like that I know they were just probably using an infrared camera, but it fucking served its purpose.
It's beautiful because, you get the sense, obviously, like you're reminded, as y'all both mentioned, that this is a movie about, an alien, right? Like a creature from another world. And obviously it has nefarious, like you get the feeling it has nefarious intentions. And so as they depart the rebel camp to try to make the chopper to get out of this jungle, it is a ways away because evidently, and Arnold mentions it. This is a flawless plot, man. Like you would think, well, why doesn't the helicopter land where they are? Well, it's just there's other rebels.
Yeah,
it's a jungle. There's rebels everywhere.
Yeah. They said they had to go like 8 miles.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 8 or 12 miles. They have a long ways to trek through. If you know anything about the jungle, that may as well be like 20 miles. Like you have to move so slow, like through the jungles and the heavy brush, etc. Right. So it's a very long way away.
So this scene right before they leave the camp is where it starts getting creepy for me. They're all pissed at Dylan, right? But Mac tells him to turn around, and he pulls out this big ass knife, and it almost looks like he's going to stab him, but he gets this scorpion off of his back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dylan tells him thanks, and Mac goes, anytime.
Yeah.
And then you get the joke. I can't. Which guy was?
I think it's the Pussy Echo joke. It finally makes Billy's character Billy laugh because
after all the trauma and craziness that happens.
One of the most. I'm pretty sure that laugh happens in Predator 2, if I'm not mistaken, either. Or they actually repeat it in the second movie.
So then you see, like, they leave, and you're still seeing like the infrared vision, and you see like he goes down there, and you see his like long claw hand reach down and pick up that
dead scorpion.
The dead scorpion.
Yeah.
And then he starts mimicking them. Like he's going, He was doing the.
Dude, yeah, I'm with you on that. Like,
and
that's creepy as fuck.
He's trying, like, you can tell that he's trying to perfect it. Like, it's all distorted at first, and it keeps like getting better and better.
Yep.
And then, like, off in the distance, I think maybe even Billy hears it when he's mimicking Billy. He does that laugh, and I think maybe it shows Billy kind of look back, like,
yeah. But it really, like, the background. I forgot who. I think the guy that scored this also scored some. I think he scored Endgame. Like, I looked that up today. That actually did the musical score for this. He scored some other stuff for Marvel, but like, it really sets that horror background, dark, ominous tones,
right?
Like, because but like, for real, like, it sets that vibe, like
a masturbating dog killer.
People are dead, dogs happy, but like, so.
You do get that sense that they're being watched and
like
followed.
You said, though, it goes from like an action movie like to like now we're in a fucking now we're watching like Jason or Freddy, like, you know, like someone's being stalked by something that you don't know and don't understand,
right? And you know it's a killer because you can start to assume now, if you've never seen the movie before, the bodies skinned alive were done by this thing.
Yeah,
and it has yet to kill anyone. So far, all we get is it just follows them, it mimics them, it watches them, and that's what's beautiful about this movie. This thing doesn't instantly start murdering and killing.
Right.
It stalks, it copies, it follows, it learns everything about its prey first. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I probably missed the spaceship at the beginning, like the first dozen times I watched this.
I'm sure. Like I said, it's so tiny.
I've heard a lot of people say that they did not see the spaceship the first 2 or 3 times they watched the film.
Yeah.
They just,
like I said,
this happened so quick.
I watched it twice this week. Missed it the first time, didn't really pay attention, and then the second time, like, oh shit! But like right now is now when the Predator is finally revealed. Which I do have some fun facts about that. Fun facts about the Predator when it actually is finally revealed, and you kind of see a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah,
Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original Predator. I'll put it in here in post. And I shared it with you guys in Discord. That costume. So here's what happened. I forgot. I think it's Sam Winston that did the costume design for the Terminator. They wanted him to design this alien for him, and he said, "Okay, well, it's going to be 1.5 mil." And they're like, we're on a budget, so they get somebody else that made that fucking Zorak bullshit from Space Ghost Coast to Coast that you see Jean-Claude in. They also said Jean-Claude was a big fucking diva, but anyway, this is before Bloodsport.
I could see that. Well, I think they were supposed to have been some kind of tie-in with the cloaking, the camouflage deal.
Yeah,
that it was supposed to be like a chameleon.
Right. Which
I think even the hot Hispanic chick says something about it.
So
I don't know.
What happened
is jungle came alive.
They filmed with the Jean-Claude Predator. They went in post and they were like, "This isn't going to work. This is bad." And
they filmed the whole movie with him.
They filmed at least part of the Predator scenes and shit. Yeah, because they were done,
of it.
And they had to bring him back to to Mexico in the winter. Arnold talks about in his book. So they contact Sam Winston and they're like, "Here's your 1.5. Could you make fucking chicken salad out of chicken shit?" And he sure as fuck did, because that thing is badass in this. So he's the one that designed the Predator, and then they went back because Arnold talks about. Later on in the movie, we'll get to with the when he's got the camouflage and shit on. That actually was like clay, and it like dropped his body temperature. It was already cold out there. It dropped his body temperature, and he's like shaking and shit. You can actually see a little bit of it in the movie. Like you can tell he's like super fucking cold. But yeah, man, they had to go back and film because if you look at it, there's not that many Predator battle scenes. So you honestly could go back and refilm those scenes in a couple of days.
Well, yeah. I guess I was under the impression that they didn't film very much with Jean-Claude Van Damme because no one knew what the Predator was going to look like. They had started filming before they ever saw anything. So, like they did all the scenes with the Predator using the stealth camouflage.
Right.
It was just someone like a red suit or a green suit or whatever that they were going to do the special effects too.
Yeah.
So I think Carl Weathers even talks about the scene that we haven't gotten to yet, but he was reacting to something that wasn't there.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, so if you actually go back and look, how many scenes with the Predator that are actually in scenes with other actors, I'm pretty sure Arnold is the only one that has acting scenes with the actual Predator.
And I could tell you exactly why that is, because the original script, believe it or not, was designed just to be Arnold and versus the Predator. Like, it was just him versus the Predator, and like that's why he's the only one in those scenes. Arnold, evidently, according to one of his interviews, is the reason that the military team is there, because he thought it would be more believable, which obviously he was 100% correct. Why would you go into the jungle by yourself?
You got to have at least 2/3 of the movie with some dialogue in it.
At least, yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, of course he was 100% correct. Like, right. I don't see doing this movie by yourself. Like, it would be ridiculous. Like, it was stupid. So he lobbied for them to have a team go in, and obviously they get picked off one by one. They're hunted, and then in the final scenes, it's just him versus the alien. So to Chris's point, that's kind of what was left from the original script is just Arnold.
And I may have misunderstood it in his book, but from what I remember from his book, I'm pretty sure he said when they got to the editing room, it didn't work. Leafy, you can get into actually who played him, but the guy's like 6'7". You can't see shit out of that suit, and Arnold caught a couple.
I think he was over 7 feet.
I'm sorry, 7'2". Yeah,
he was 7'2". His name was Kevin Peter Hall, and he was, of course, you would know him. Other people might know him. He was fresh off the set of Harry and the Hendersons as the Sasquatch,
which we saw in theaters together.
Which we did, dude.
I fucking love Harry and the
Hendersons. It's an excellent film, dude. And it uses
when he gets kicked in the balls.
That is an excellent scene, and believe it or not, that uses the same tech, the same exact tech. It's basically, if you see Kevin Peter Hall in the Predator suit, his head actually sits lower than the Predator, and then this whole headpiece is a robotic mask.
Yeah, so Arnold talked about like that he because Kevin couldn't see out of it. And so Arnold caught a fucking, in wrestling, we call him a tater or a potato when somebody just fucking clocks the shit out of you because, like, he couldn't see. So he's like maybe supposed to miss Arnold or whatever. And he clocks him. So when I was going back and watching it, I was like, because usually from what I've read and what I've seen, usually when someone does that and it looks, because, it looks real because, hey, guess what? You really clocked the shit out of them. Usually they use that take. So I was trying to see if I could see anything where they didn't cut, and it was like, oh, damn.
Like Michael B. Jordan got knocked out in Creed.
Yeah, exactly, where he like actually legit, and that's the take they used because guess what? He was knocked out. So
it looks really, it's real. I mean, you can't get an actor to agree to it, though. If they were like, hey, Arnold, this fucking 7'2" behemoth is going to beat the shit out of you and hit you for real with claws and blades and shit, he'd have been like,
Heath Ledger would have done it.
He would have. Method actors.
He did tell Christian Bale to beat the shit out of him in that interrogation scene in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Bale asked him, was like, how hard do you want me to go? And he's like, hit me. Like,
well, it's fine. Leaf can sign off on that. I've done that several times.
You can. And you know what? It does look good, and everyone is left wondering how real your performance was.
Your martial arts demo was. So, all right. So, enough behind the scenes, So now we get our first death on screen, I guess, that of one of our main characters, right?
One of our main characters.
It actually wasn't on screen, though.
Yeah, so I guess you get some spatter.
So the chick, do we have her name? Anna?
We did. We actually do. Yeah. Sorry. We forgot to mention, we did mention briefly Dylan does take one of the rebels as a hostage. It just so happens to be a really hot Hispanic girl named Anna, played by Elpidia Carrillo. I believe that's close enough. Mm-hmm. Not gonna work here again.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Chatty, no. So they have a hostage with them, right? It's kind of slowing them down.
They're trekking back to the chopper, and she makes a break for it, and Hawkins runs
is gonna go get her.
Wait!
He gets fucking wasted. So when they come over there, and also his body's not there. So they come back, she's got his blood on him, and she is like fucking traumatized. And then so they're trying to they're like, what did she do to him? What's going on? And then I think it's Arnold that finally is like, hey, she would have. They left his gun. They left his radio.
And this is her second, almost third escaped attempt because they foiled a couple of her. She's trying to constantly get away. She's being a complete bitch the entire time, which you respect. I mean, she's a rebel. She's trying to get away from these guys. But then that's it. She stops trying to escape after that. As soon as Hawkins gets killed, last thing you see is his dead body is laying on the ground, and this thing has his leg, and he drags him into the bushes.
And that's what I like.
Gone.
There's a it's kind of like the Alfred Hitchcock shit they used to do back in the day. Sometimes the most gory thing you can do is leave it up to the audience's imagination. Where it's just you paint a little bit of a picture, and so he's off, and so now everybody's on high alert. And then unfortunately, man, it's Blaine's turn. Old Jesse.
I could tell you right now, at this point in time in the film, as one of the only people that saw this as a kid uncensored, I was that Hawkins, as soon as he got killed, I was immediately about to have a panic attack for the rest of the movie. Yeah, because he gets killed instantly by something that they can't see. You can kind of see it on screen because we're the audience. But after this, I'm like, they're all gonna die. Everyone's going to die. And you can just feel it, and you're terrified because you don't know where this thing is. They can't see it. It's got like alien technology. You're like, there's no way they can escape. You have this fear of just absolute dread, and then you get Jesse actual gory scene.
Yeah, dude. And this was great makeup even today, because even watching it, where you can actually see. So Blaine, he's got his gun out. He's ready to fuck this thing up.
Have you ever noticed that he takes a little shot in the ear or something?
Yes.
So I looked that up, and apparently, if you slow it down, you can see just a frame or two of a spear. So
it was supposed to be
the predator tries to get him with a spear first.
Got you.
And it just glances him. And then when he turns around,
that's kind of like a crossbow, people.
I didn't know what hit him. I knew he got hit by something else. I had no idea. Wow, good catch. I had no idea what hit. I thought he got hit by some other like you said, it was a glancing shot. Whatever it was.
You thought some of Hawkins fell out of a tree.
Some of his. You do see Hawkins' intestines, or insides or whatever, laying on the ground.
So that plasma blast,
dude.
It was like a hot knife through butter.
Cauterize those balls.
Cauterize, just heat it up, straight down
like butter. Cauterize the balls. No blood.
No blood whatsoever.
So Blaine gets killed, and Mac loses his shit.
That's his friend.
Well, this is his last one. This is what we're waiting on, right? You see it from the beginning. You're like, he's gonna lose his fucking shit. And guess what? He loses his fucking shit.
You didn't even know, even to this point, that they're best friends, but you get it then. Mac runs up and finds Blaine's dead, open, insides absolutely opened up, and loses his shit. He grabs old paint. He first empties his own gun into the jungle he sees something. He sees what we're seeing. So now the characters are on our level. He's like, what the fuck is this thing? And he just opens up, and then he grabs Blaine's old painless mini machine gun. One of the coolest 80s moments with the exception of some of the Rambo scenes.
Right.
in my entire life. I thought this was awesome, an absolute rage,
especially
and sadness.
Everybody like shows up and like starts joining him, and then they're all just they don't know what they're shooting at, but they're shooting with him. They're like teammates, like, let's go.
Yeah, they're just like mowing down all these trees. It looks like they're getting ready to put in a Dollar General.
Yeah. They don't even know what they're shooting at, but I love what Chris said is 100% true. It doesn't matter. It's like Mac is shooting at something that obviously has killed Blaine, and it doesn't matter if it's rebels, an alien, dogs, pigs, whatever. They're gonna mow it down. I mean, they're like Arnold's like got a mini grenade launcher.
Yeah, dude, they're just
unloading.
Wait, you hear that?
Oh, yeah, man. So they mow it down, and soon that Dollar General will be up though, and it'll be up.
It'll be up in 90 days, man.
And then that sleeveless kid will be in there that Shadwick sees, and
with jelly all over his face.
So,
I hope.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow, even though they expend all this ordnance and bullets and grenades and everything, they only managed to barely wound the creature, as evident by the glowing green blood
and they
on some of the leaves.
And they don't even see that.
Right. They don't see the blood.
So I remember the first time I watched this, the chick, she sees the blood, right? Mm-hmm. And she gets on her hand, but she doesn't tell anybody. She wipes it off. So the first time I watched this, I thought that the predator was like a protector of the jungle, and he was protecting her.
Yeah.
And she wasn't letting them know.
Oh.
So you're saying a girl being a little bit annoying, which leads me to shit stuck in my head this week.
God, there was one week when you wore sweatpants every day.
You shall not pass!
Which is what the predator is saying to them. When you really tie it together, that's what's happening here.
You remember when we were at your house? I think it might have been for a Rocky Day when we were out there fucking around with those like water rockets or whatever. Oh. But you had this like big burn pile back there, and I grabbed up that like branch or whatever, just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
you shall not pass.
For audio listeners, you want to explain what that clip was?
That is from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, a hilarious clip of his girlfriend, fiance, whatever she is, trying to prove that he's just not doing what he should do in life.
You're not any good.
You're not any good. So, all right. So now let's
to the Predator.
Yeah, now we got Predator game on.
Yeah, we the Predator. It's game on. Mac momentarily did see the creature. It was wounded. It's got green glowing blood. We know it's an alien.
Baboon eyes and the sauce.
It's the sauce. So you kind of are harking back to the beginning scene. You're like, oh yeah, this is a monster movie. Like
exactly.
Movie. Like there's an alien hunting
like a damn
these
monster
guys
movie
with crazy tech. Yeah. And we get this insanely cool scene about him trying to cauterize them balls and them wounds he got. And you get to see the Predator without the special effects.
That's
the first time.
And when he administers the medicine or whatever, doesn't he screams, right?
Yes. So like it hurts.
And it's blood curdling too.
But it's like you kind of see now, like you're like, oh shit, like it can be hurt. And so, like as an audience, they don't know.
If it bleeds, you can kill it.
Yeah, it seems to be exactly. It seems to be invincible up until this point, and there's just kind of like no hope. Like these guys are getting hunted down, and we're not talking about and this is another important part about this dude's being ripped, because people will miss this when they just look at the cast. They look at the guys are like just a bunch of fucking meatheads. like who are like in the gym like too much. It's like no, they're supposed to represent the most elite of elite.
Yeah, this is the top that we fucking offer. Yeah, this is like
these are not men that are to be trifled with. They are quite.
This
literally,
isn't somebody hunting a homeless iced tea in a movie.
Yeah, which would be right.
This is elite versus elite. Like, let's go.
Do they figure out that he can see their like tripwires?
No, they don't know. They don't know shit about him yet. Like, they don't even know that he can be hurt. Like, the
reason I say that is because they set up all these traps using like vines and logs and bent over trees and whatever.
I think that was to show their survivability, like they can use the environment as a weapon, like because their conventional weapons until this point in time are not working. That was clear when Mac unleashed with Old Painless and they all blew. It didn't work. So they're like, okay, we need to set a trap. Guns, our tech isn't good enough. Like our weapons, our cartridges, grenade launchers are not going to kill this thing. We have to be smarter. So they decide, that instead
so we'll use some sticks.
Yeah, they're gonna set some traps to lure him in.
Well, Dylan actually makes a comment. He was like, "You think this Boy Scout shit's gonna work?"
Yeah,
like, he actually was like, "This is stupid."
He's still being a dick.
He's still being a dick.
Right.
But you know what? He's not wrong. It's like, what are you doing? But here's the question that you have to really ask yourself, because like this is a stupid kind of play in a way. But then again, it's like, okay, this thing is clearly picking you off one by one, and like Arnold's argument is that, are we just going to keep running through the jungle, dying one at a time while this thing takes us out? Like, what we got to make some sort of stand, and you really in anything. You have to decide when you have to make a stand and when it's time to run. And they decide, okay, it's time to make a stand. So they do, put all of these traps and things together. And one of the scariest scenes in the film happens right then, is when they have the trap set up and they hear something and Arnold decides he's going to step out. Now, this is the star of the film too. So you're like, no way he dies, right?
And it's right after Dylan says something about this Boy Scout bullshit or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's almost like Arnold kind of gets pissed and wants to get away from him.
Right.
Yes. He gets up and he's walking through the main area where they have all these traps set up. You can see like he's like carefully stepping over these.
He almost trips one of their own traps. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then he's just like cautiously walking through. He's got those fucking giant arms,
huge arms,
and
so cool, man.
And so he's doing that, like kind of hunched over, walking toward the camera, and then all of a sudden,
Shit!
Like you said, one of the scariest things, dude.
Yep.
Like the net behind him just like goes up, and you hear the thing screaming. You still can't see it.
Yeah.
But the net goes up. All the leaves are on top of it, hiding it. It goes up, and you hear it screaming, and then it just starts like blasting.
Yeah.
Plasma blasting.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away.
That's exactly what happened. And so what you realize, if you're paying attention to the film, is Arnold was about to get murdered.
He was fucking off, man.
He was this close to getting murdered. The thing was directly behind him, but it triggered one of the. So the traps almost worked.
Yeah,
it escaped because he's the fucking predator.
Yeah,
and he instantly
Pancho gets a little fucked up, and then Mac is like, this is the most fucked up part for me in this movie is when Mac snaps. And he's like talking about, what does he say? Having some fun.
I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun.
He's literally quoting, and I didn't think they could hear the music in the very beginning. This is sort of evidence that they could. Long Tall Sally has a line. Basically, it's like, gonna have me some fun tonight. And Mac is just, like Chris says,
like
the whole
deranged,
thing.
Like you've been seeing him like on that fucking edge this entire movie, and that actor kills this because when he's going up the hill and he's like having some fun,
I'm having
some fun, like, and he's like just fucking losing it. And to me, that was where I was just like, that made me feel uncomfortable. Where I was just like, Jesus Christ, like this dude's off, like he's done.
He is absolutely, and they yell at him. They're like, "Matt, come back!" And the whole thing devolves after this scene.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing falls apart.
And then also you kind of get a little bit of a character arc for Dylan because he's the one that goes to get Mac. He tells Dutch or Arnold, it's like, get everybody to the chopper.
Yep.
And I'll go get Mac and I'll meet you there. And you're like, all right, he's, he got them into this shit. He's kind of coming around like, I'm going to redeem myself. He's not a total piece of shit. So
exactly, he's still the guy that Arnold knew deep down. Right.
That guy still exists.
Yeah,
he's not a soulless CIA corporate shill. He's in there when the shit hit the fan. So he stepped up.
So he's sneaking around. He's looking for Mac, and all of a sudden he's pulled down. You're like, oh shit, the Prairie got him, but it's actually Mac. Mac, like he pulls him behind these shrubs, and he's telling him basically like, be quiet. And I don't know. It's not really creepy, but I don't know. It's kind of unsettling the way Mac's like, there, past the tree.
Yeah, I know. Like, because he's like, you don't know if he's really seeing something. Like, this dude's off his fucking rocker at this point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Dylan doesn't really believe him in the very first seconds of the scene because it's just like, where? Like, I don't see anything.
Right.
And he's like right there,
and then
like
you see it, and then like we see it. We've been seeing it, and then they see it.
Yeah,
and he's like,
exactly.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I feel like,
and then they set up a plan, and they're gonna fucking flush him out of the brush, and then
and that's it. Kudos again to
Let's all laugh at fucking Carl Weathers getting killed because that shit is so fucking awesome.
Well, hold on though. To his credit though, when he does finally see it, like you were talking about, like his
facials,
his facial expressions, like he's like, I see it.
Yeah, and
it's like it's kind of disbelief,
right? Like it's fucking perfect.
Realization, like he's woken up almost, like, oh my god!
All he says is, "I see it," but his face, like I said again, a great actor that has like, this is going to be taken out of context, has amazing facials. So like, but you know what I mean?
Let's rewind.
Yeah. Be kind. Let's rewind. Nothing serious.
You can go to the Miller Mott Institute and learn how to give facials. By the way,
you can. But anyway, this is great. So he does that, and now they've got a plan. They're going to flush him out, and then this is when you get
he's going to flank him.
Yeah. Then you get the great, like, which I actually was like thinking today, I wonder where that arm is. Because that's a prop that dropped to the ground. That's probably a rubber prop or whatever that's got, Carl Weathers, when Dutch's arm gets shot off right before he gets killed.
Hell no. Damn alligator bit my hand off.
So I like, too, that, like, he doesn't have quit in him. Like, he's, like, with his one good arm, he's, like, reaching for the gun to, like, keep fucking fighting. Like, he didn't go out like a bitch. Yeah, he didn't go out like a bitch.
It reminds me of the old westerns, man. Like it was almost like a draw out, like a shootout. Yeah. Like, because as soon as he turns to like shoot, like he sees it sees him. They're both kind of sitting there, and Dylan raises his gun to kind of shoot it, and that thing it's like it beats him.
Yeah,
it was, dude.
You know what it actually reminded me of? It reminded me of Gage's shoe from Pet Sematary.
Damn it, dude. A movie that actually traumatized me. This movie was so good, but it did nothing.
No,
ended me.
Daddy. No. I want to play with you.
Oh, fuck that. All right. So
my fucking kid used to say that.
Oh, fuck that. So Poncho's injury. And this is good. This is good because this is when he's gonna make his fucking last stand, right?
Yes, yeah. This is okay. So after the trap sets off behind Arnold, Predator escapes. Dylan and Mac are both dead.
Fucking
Just
toast.
shit is hit the fan. The only people left are the hot Hispanic rebel hostage, Arnold, and Poncho, who was injured in the melee. His chest seemed to be crushed from one of the traps. He got injured, and he is just in bad shape. And I could tell you right now, watching the scene where he's on the ground and they lift him up and he is screaming makes me cringe every single time because he does such a good job of looking injured. It is. Have you ever been hurt or seen somebody hurt so bad that when you move them, they let out this blood-curdling scream? Every time I see that, I'm like, dude, he looks like he had his chest caved in or something.
But it's like, I can make it. I can make it.
And he's fighting. So Arnold is carrying him, and the Predator, after dispatching
Billy,
Mac,
right?
the Predator instantly catches up with the remaining trio after Mac and Dylan after he dispatches them, and he shoots Poncho in the face or the neck with a plasma blast, kills him instantly, and he's on Arnold's back. So now we're down to 2, and
he's so is this where I guess Arnold's talking to Billy, and he goes, get her to the chopper.
Yeah.
And then like I think as soon as he says that, and I never quite understood this, Arnold gets blasted in the chest, right?
He gets hit in the arm.
It looks in the shoulder. Because I agree with you, because if you watch the shot, it looks like it hits him in the chest, but when they cut, it's on his shoulder. So it's like a big plasma burn on his shoulder.
All right, but it knocks him down.
Muscle.
So it knocks him down, and as he's laying there, then you get the
Get to the chopper!
The fucking iconic line.
Yes. Oh, but I'm sorry. You're right. Like we forgot to mention Billy because this is really important to me. As a Native American, Billy decides he's just done running.
Cuts his fucking chest with a knife, and it is
with a machete.
Let's go.
So is that something with your people? You cut your chest before you before battle?
Many times before, like we would play a show with FNA, like I would just see Leaf in the back, and he would just cut his chest, and I was like, "We're playing in front of 5 people. What are you doing?"
He's a glutton because after shows, I would oftentimes find him in a closet with something around his neck.
He's a man of many talents.
I am. I actually literally am, dude. And I would literally Chris and be like, I'm gonna have me some fun.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have me some fun.
I don't know what happens when you die, but I know what happens right after you die. You're found.
Yeah. Thank you, Norm. So yeah, Billy goes out like a badass.
Billy decides he's just not going to run anymore. He's going to fight the Predator with a knife, and what happens? Of course, he dies hilariously with a screeching scream. Off screen.
If I had to say one thing that I don't like about this movie, it's that because I really liked Billy.
Yeah, me too.
He was the one all through the movie that you kind of felt like he knew something was going on. And
there's no bullshit with him. Like you got the laugh from him, so it's like it felt like he was opening up a little bit. You're getting more of a character arc out of him.
But to have him die off screen,
I will say though. Okay, I'm going to defend it only so slightly. I agree. I wanted more of Billy too. I feel like he should have had a better ending. However, he actually, in the very beginning of the movie, he tells them all we're all going to die.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I forgot about that.
He gave up and decided
premonition,
that he was going.
Bullshit, you ain't afraid of no man.
Exactly. But he stated
waiting for us, and it ain't no man.
And it ain't no man. Dude, remember that line when he was in the camera and when Arnold asks him like to find him a way out of the jungle, and he plots a route, but he says he wouldn't wish it on a broke dick dog. What was that all about?
Well,
what was that line?
It's like a horse's cock. It's all he's got,
Billy, what are you talking about, dude? That's not Native American. Who wrote that? But he basically gives up, and he knew he was going to die no matter what, and so he wanted to go out his own way.
Right.
And so in that respect, I kind of liked it because I'm like, he chose his own way to die. Unlike these other guys who kind of died screaming, running, surprised. He wanted to face. He wanted to face.
Like,
what?
And he knew he was no chance.
You know what? This was the 80s. People were probably tired of seeing engines being massacred.
You would think so, but evidently the America never gets enough.
No, they never got enough, and they killed him anyway. So here we are.
so he's dead.
So he's dead.
And then the scene that I mentioned before happens. Poncho gets blasted in the neck, and it's down to the hot rebel Hispanic woman and Dutch. And here's what I think. You guys mentioned that it looks like he gets blasted in the chest, but then his shoulders was injured. Even as a kid, I took it as the Predator didn't want to kill him. I felt like he used a lesser plasma blast on him to injure him. That was just my take.
Because
I could be completely wrong.
This does lead up to the final battle where it is fucking the whole.
Yes,
it's the whole Friday ending. Come on, Greg.
Mono.
Use your fists.
You win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day.
Skulls like he's freaking.
Yeah, now that's
Well, you know what? Maybe it's because right before that, Arnold realized that if you don't have a weapon, it doesn't attack you. Because remember
he did mention that. He did mention that with the girl.
The chick goes to pick up the gun and he kicks it out of her hand.
Yep.
And so I don't know if he had a gun or not.
That was another one that took me the second time through to kind of pick that. Shout out Joe if you watch this. Joe was just like he brought that up, and I was like, oh yeah, good call.
Exactly. Well, so yeah, you're right. He kicks. So the girl, in after Poncho gets blasted, the girl has a gun, and she goes to shoot him, and he kicks the gun out of her hand, and then he shoots, and that's when Predator blasts him, and he gets knocked to the ground and disarmed, and he's like, you get the line, get to the chopper, run and go. And he tells her to go because, and again, the Predator the whole time, what a lot of people don't realize until I saw this probably when I was much older, you're getting character development from the Predator, but you don't realize it unless you're on the fifth watch of this movie because
he hunts for sport.
Yeah,
he hunts for sport.
Yeah.
He actually does, and it's even easy to say that, but when you watch it, he wants things to be even, and that's why I don't believe he blasted Arnold, but he didn't kill him because this is his ultimate prize. Obviously, Arnold's the star, but he is the ultimate. He is the leader. Predator's been stalking them. He knows everything about them. This is the guy he wants. He has no interest in the girl. If he lets her go, he could have killed her like that if he wanted to.
Does she get away? I guess
she absolutely gets away. She runs off. You don't ever see her again to the very end of the film. So she runs off, and he's chasing Arnold. And you get this scene where he's crawling through the mud. Predator's behind him.
He goes through all the waterfalls and shit.
He falls into the river.
It's like a never-ending. You remember that scene from Hot Rod when he's doing the angry dancing in the woods, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And then it's like this 30 or 45-second fall of him down the hill, flipping and rolling. That's basically what this is with Arnold.
That's a Princess Bride. It's you win.
It's basically that. So Arnold falls.
He goes from one waterfall
to
fucking
waterfalls or some shit. Yeah,
so he's
such a cool thing.
Yeah, he's
you know what I'm gonna do?
He's a good ways away from where the Predator was chasing him.
I'm gonna find the waterfall scenes and I'm gonna put the Baywatch theme over it.
Oh shit!
But no, so yeah, he goes through all these rivers and waterfalls or whatever. He lands in I guess it's a lake or whatever, and you're you can tell that he's relieved. I get a little breather here. The audience is whew, thank God.
He got away.
And then all of a sudden you got this big fucking splash right behind him. I'm like, God damn it!
And so I have him again. I have some behind the scenes shit too here with this. So, the clay they put on him was actually potter's clay, is what special effects had to do. Again, this is when they had to It's when they had to go back and reshoot this. So it was cold in Mexico, and they were like, "Hey, this is going to drop your body temperature quite a bit." So They, of course, tried to use heating lamps, but guess what that does to pottery clay?
Dries it out. That looks so crusty on him.
So they didn't want to be crusty, buddy. And so
they put him in a kiln.
Yeah, and so he actually says in his book that he was fucking drinking. I forgot what it was called, but it had shots of schnapps in it, and he was like, which helped a little bit, but at some point, like I couldn't do the lines anymore because I was too drunk or something.
So he was a hammer doing these lines.
So you can see there's only a few with him with that shit on him, and he's always holding on to something. That's what he said in the book. If he held on to something, he could stop the shaking. But if he wasn't, then he would be like shaking because it was just
he had to probably tense his muscles by grabbing on. Oh, what?
He's drunk. He's like, "You're one of them motherfucker."
What if he lost his accent while he was hammered? That shit would be epic.
So anyway, so we
get the keyest plot point. This is the turning point we've all been waiting for as an audience member in the movie. He's crawling out of the lake and he's crawling through the mud, which we found out thanks to Chris's Potter's clay all over him, but it masks the heat signature from the infrared.
Turns out it really masks the heat signature per Arnold.
Yeah, quite literally. They must have used actual thermal technology and you couldn't see him.
Here's one more thing. As it passes him, he's covered with the mud.
Yeah.
And he realizes it. And I wish they just left this line out. But he goes, he couldn't see me.
Yeah.
I wish you just left that out and let that be a little more cerebral.
Well, because his face says it all. Like you see the disbelief and then the realization of what just happened, and then it shoots the somehow a rat survived the plasma blast. Apparently,
evidently, I don't know how that thing made it, but
it's a fucking rat, and the rat's like meh. And I was like,
they didn't want to kill the rat. I guess on
should have got one of those electrical traps with like 8D batteries that I have in my house. That'll take care of that shit.
I agree with Shadwick 110%, but I also think like this is the 80s and people are freaking stupid as dirt.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like they thought, and I think in hindsight you're all correct, Shadwick, but I think when they filmed it, they were like, well, he's got to say what happened because people are going to be like, why didn't it kill him?
Right.
Like, people aren't going to necessarily. This is one of the first times you've seen anything like this ever, and I think that's one of the understated parts. Pieces of this film that you're starting to get that this is a thermal technology. It's heat. Like you don't imagine if you're not in the military, you've never seen any thermal technology. Like you don't even really know what you're watching necessarily. And the movie does an excellent job of explaining it and showing it to you. But there's just
because again, it's 87 when this came out, so they're filming this in 85, 86. So
87. There's some people out there that still don't understand what they're looking at.
So
like that.
So in this too, after we have this scene and it it's murdered Jesse the Body Ventura, but apparently fucking Danger Mouse got away. So that's good to know.
Hey, what's funny?
Now we get the final battle where he's setting up all his fucking traps and shit.
He has a weapon finally. He has a way to sort of even the score. He makes his own fucking bow and arrow out of reeds and shit. It's just unrealistic as hell, but I love every second of it.
All right,
he's gonna go low tech versus high tech here.
So another thing from when I was a kid, playing with my friends. I don't remember. It had to have been early 90s that Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves came out.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, man. So
more Costner.
So we all made our own bows.
Oh,
and
any success?
I tried. Yeah. If you get,
is this like a Boy Scouts thing, or you just did it
this is Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, where did you grow up?
Dude, it was just there were 3 or 4 of us, all boys, all about the same age, and we just we'd chop down little branches off of trees and
pull them back. And
I thought you had to have some sort of tensile strength wood and all that shit though.
We use fucking kite string.
Yeah,
but I will say before I wound up making my regular bow, I tried getting a fucking giant branch and bending it over my back like Arnold.
Yes, dude. Like, dude, that's the whole scene where I'm setting the traps.
Yeah,
He's
man.
like emptying out his grenade launcher things to make like explosive arrows. This scene is just, it's so
legit.
great.
It's-
He sets it up.
And the part where he calls out the predator, he's ready. He's got all his shit ready.
He lights the fucking thing.
He lights that torch and he lets out that scream. Dude,
6 to midnight.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
almost. I almost get the chills as much as when Rocky yells, "Yo, Adrian, I did
I
it."
did it. Yeah, man.
Yes,
Like
that
ooh.
is man. That's the same energy like
sure.
on both
100%.
scenes, and I
Good-
feel it too.
good call.
Because he is just
Yeah.
that is very good call. Because like in that moment, he's like, it's on, and you know what? I didn't realize something until this very moment. Like I spent my entire life watching this movie and just be like, why didn't he just cover himself in mud and like run away? But this last time I watched it, like this week, I realized there wasn't any escape. Like he would have shot the chopper down, like
Right.
because he did it.
He already did it before.
already.
Yeah.
He did it before, and I just didn't comprehend. There was no escape. Arnold had already accepted it. He knew he was not getting out of there. One of them was going to die, and that was his challenge, like to the death. And
Right.
it is bone chilling.
Oh, dude.
And they have their final battle.
Said, it's high tech versus low tech. They're fucking just throwing
beautiful
elbows, be doing Indian burns. Like
They do, man.
They got spears and arrows. Let us gingerly touch our tips.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, it's beautiful.
And then, like, for whatever reason, like, you finally get the Predator to unmask because it's like, your note, I believe it's like the goat. He fucking takes his mask off and he fights him fucking 30 style boxing.
He does.
He's like,
So,
put your
yeah.
dukes up, and he's like, I fucking got no dukes. Like,
Got no fucking dukes. It is literally it's a back and forth. You know, Arnold gets some good shots in, but eventually he gets the mud washed off of him and he
Yeah.
gets pinned down and it's over. But instead of killing him outright, the Predator basically takes off his mask. And this is what he wants. Like
he takes his cannon off. Like
he's not using any tech. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like
mono
even,
mono,
like,
yeah, and it
mono
like,
to mono.
and what a great fucking like. Still to this day, those special effects, the fucking mandibles and all that shit going on, looks great.
Disgusting. I love it.
Did you grow up in Hickson?
No, we were 58 Highway.
Yeah, Harrison,
there was
the mean streets,
jungles.
There was a place on Hickson Pike called Barfunkel's. It was
that sounds familiar.
Sounds vaguely familiar to me too.
So when I was 16 or 17, there was a woman there that she gave like art lessons, and they did a haunted house. And I actually never went to the haunted house, but I helped them like prep stuff for it. Like, we would use like PVC pipe and like just wrap it in toilet paper and spray it black and made it look like burnt skeletons and shit like that.
Oh, cool.
But that lady, she made like latex masks.
Yeah.
And I worked up there for probably a couple months trying to make a Predator mask.
Oh, wow.
And it was just way too complex. Like,
Dude, that's a tough fucking like. Yeah. Just the way everything looks and the way that they combined, like, again, what's his name? Sam Winston, like, fucking genius. Like, to come up, to see what the Predator was before that, to see what it was then. And he takes his mask off, and it's the final fucking, showdown or whatever. And,
and he's just hideous.
And he's like, Arnold's punching him, and then he's like, oh, shit, okay, so this is what we do. We punch. And then he starts punching back like he's learning still. Because he's like, you're one ugly son of a bitch.
One of my favorite scenes is when Predator finally takes off his mask. It actually cuts to the Predator's point of view, and you see like the thermal technology.
He can't see.
It's like his vision is
all
like
red. Yeah, it's all red, and it's like
messed up.
Yeah,
and it's like he loses a lot of his advantage, and he's still physically superior, as you found out, because Arnold hits him with like a stick or whatever, and he just like turns his head back, and he's just like, okay, big mistake, and just starts getting his natural ass just beat, like whooped. But like, you know, it's just the thing. The creature wants to defeat him on its own, with its own bare hands and its own territory.
It's a hunter. Like it's a sport.
Is a hunter.
Yep.
It is literally a sport. And this really, I feel like the first time you get the feeling that this thing has some sort of sense of, it's not a stupid, you know, creature just killing for fun. Like it had a purpose the whole entire time. And like now we've arrived at that. So it's so satisfying to see Arnold try to match wits with it, because he tries to, he clearly is no match for it physically.
Right.
And Arnold is the best of, he represents the best of humanity. The strongest, fastest, most cunning, skilled, like, of our killers and soldiers that the Earth has to offer. And this thing knows that. And it's like, I'm going to take you down. And when I take you down, I'll have the glory and the honor
fucks him
of,
up, and he lures him into that trap where you see like he's gonna try to get him crushed by the log or whatever. Like he wants him to like trip the wire,
and you get the beer fest line.
The what?
They do it, kill me, come on, kill me now,
do it now, yeah, kill me. What are you
now.
waiting for? And then like the thing like Predator sees it and then walks around, and then Arnold's still able to like kick it out and crush him. And this is like where. If any of our younger listeners don't ever show mercy in life, that's what this movie tells you.
True. If he could have instantly killed Arnold, and it would have been the movie would have been.
Or no, if he had
mercy's for the weak.
Yeah, if he had, and also when the Predator has the log fall on its face, and then he's like down, which also is kind of like a weird, like you can see like the humanity almost in it. You know, it's coughing up blood, and like you almost feel sorry for it. Arnold like is gonna put it out of its misery with the rock, which is what I was saying. Don't ever have mercy. If you had shot it, if you had just smashed his head, then you wouldn't have to do what happened next. And what happens next, Leaf?
So the Predator, morally wounded, literally just sets a thermonuclear device on its wrist to self-destruct and detonates, and Arnold barely gets away, dives into a ditch,
which was the standard 80s shot, like the jumping off, the flipping with the explosion behind you.
He's like running basically in slow motion, and the thing just goes off. And one of the coolest scenes that it's a dated effect, but one of the coolest scenes is it cuts to Da Choppa. And the Hispanic girl's actually in the Choppa, which is hilarious because she's a rebel and they would have gunned her down on sight almost assuredly. The second, better than a 50-50 chance she gets Swiss cheese the moment she runs to the Choppa, because they were there for the United States military soldiers, not some weird brown rebel from
right.
The truth is, though, that, you know, there's some exposition with the Hispanic rebel soldier where she basically talks about every 100 years, like something comes in the jungle. And, you know, and so like you start to realize the lore for this, even in such a short amount of time. The lore for this is
143, ladies and gentlemen.
143, and you have all the Predator lore you could possibly want completely set up for everything. Like these things come basically and I knew this in the early 90s, right?
Yeah.
These things come generally once every 100 years, and they hunt the best soldiers or fighters on the planet.
That's what they do. Or Danny Glover.
Or Danny Glover.
Which is old for this shit.
He was too old for that shit.
He really was.
So the movie ends though, like you said, she got to the chopper, and then it shows poor old Dutch just fucking covered in ash, exhausted. You don't even know if he's dead till he
I was going to mention too,
fucking eyes.
The practical effect where you see the chopper and you see like the little tiny mushroom cloud. I thought that was so awesome, dude.
That was great.
That was so cool. So you know how powerful the bomb was, but you're right. Dutch survives. He dives into a ditch, and he is just standing in the ashes, covered in ash. And the Choppa comes down and snags him up too. And then you get the ending scene where he's just staring out, traumatized as hell.
And
you
then
know,
it,
his
like,
whole team's dead. Everyone
it does the
cared
freeze
about.
frame, and then it's like ding, 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 and it starts playing freeze frame.
It should have played Long Tall Sally. Like that would have been amazing at the very end. Just as he's just like, and you also get. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the '80s credits.
Long Tall Salad.
Yeah. Where it shows each character and like who played it. I really miss that with the freeze frame.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
I love that, dude.
Guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Final thoughts on this one, because this is all-time classic. I'm sure we'll probably touch on this one later on in the podcast too. Just do some fun stuff with it. But I don't know, man. I could watch it again now, and I've already watched it twice this week. So
yeah. It takes no time, dude. It's no time investment.
Great rewatchability, just a fun fucking movie.
It's better than Commando.
Yeah. And that's saying something too. Like, Commando's great, but yeah, I agree. And actually, you know,
it takes a lot to be better than a movie where someone wears chainmail.
This is also too, like Arnold talks about, and I kind of get it, you know, after I rewatched it again for a couple times. Arnold in his book just really had, it seemed like sour grapes when I was like reading at the time, that it's sour grapes that he was like so mad the original director, the original writers didn't come back. They weren't going to do the proper thing to do the sequel. And that's why he wouldn't be a part of it. It's because he was just like, this could have been like Terminator. This could have been, you know, because of the way that it was set up, and people just didn't, they wanted to go a different route. And he was like, well, I'm not in then.
I don't think I 100% agree, and I don't think during that time or even long after when the second one was made, this movie got the respect that it deserves, and even to a certain degree, I still don't think that it does. It is a brilliant film in a lot of different ways. The plot is really tight, succinct, and I feel like we talked about it the entire time. But this is one of my favorite things about the movie. Is that it's one of the movies where you are actually one of the characters as you watch it.
Yeah, man.
Like you are being shown things that some of the actors don't know.
That's
and
true.
Then it's so satisfying watching, like you're seeing this thing from its point of view and it's hunting them. When it's revealed to them, there's this really satisfying moment you don't get in a lot of films. You're like, yes, I saw that.
Right.
Now you see it too.
Yeah.
And then you're on the same level of, as the characters, and it draws you in not like
because you're part of the movie.
Few movies, yes, you're in it. You're also feeling like you're being hunted because you feel and identify with these characters. And when they come to realization, you yourself are also like, yes, I see it too. We're together. We see it. You're in the movie itself. It really does feel like that. And I feel like even nowadays, there's films that pale in comparison to that feeling that I got whenever I first watched it.
We'll figure it out, but we got to do something special when one of us say, hey man, this is a top 3 for me. Leaf, you saying this 100%?
I am saying
100% top 3. So
got to watch The Predator. You have to watch it. One of the best
Predator.
80s science fiction. It's comedy, it's action, it's suspense, it's horror, it's every single thing wrapped into one. I got nothing else to say. What did Shabak say about this?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's as far as 80s movies, man, there's not many that I enjoy more than this.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
especially 80s Arnold movies.
Oh yeah,
like I'm a little more partial to the 90s movies of his,
me
probably.
Too.
But we had Tango and Cash was that was late 80s, probably 88, 89. But yeah, this movie, you already said it. It's so tight, like from beginning to end, it packs so much into that hour and 43. But it's not too much.
No,
like that's something I've noticed. A lot of stuff that's coming out these days, like they just cram too much in there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like, you're like at some point you're like, who is this? What
are we doing?
What's going on? Yeah. But this is straightforward. Great. I mean, in that little time, like you said, great character development. Like,
so
like
good.
you you care about these guys, you can watch this movie 5 different times and have a favorite character, a different favorite character every time.
My thing with this one is a lot of action movies will have rewatchability, but this has rewatchability on a horror level, on an action level, on like a cerebral level. Like it's just good. Yeah. Like it's just a great fucking movie.
You guys mentioned about the plot too, like how they get betrayed by Dylan. Like it's sort of, you kind of forget about all of that the first few times because you're just worried about the predator blowing a hole through somebody's chest. But then you go back and watch it, and you're like, these guys were lured to the jungles under false pretenses. They got used, they got screwed before Predator even started killing anybody.
Right.
And you have the CIA, which actually, if you want to go into historical shit, has been involved in all kinds of
they may have even known
bullshit.
Like what was going on.
Yeah, that dude. And so, like, even back then, we knew like the CIA was involved in overthrowing governments and all kinds of nefarious stuff. And so, you get that underlying subplot in this as a way to get these guys there in the first place, and then before they start getting hunted by the aliens.
But I'll tell you what else it does, and I've noticed this in a couple other movies too. It's supposed to be an intense movie, and that double cross sets up tension before you even get to the real threat.
Right.
So same thing happened. One of my favorite horror movies is The Strangers.
Okay.
So same thing happens. It opens up. They're in the car going to the cabin, and you find out that I think he had proposed to her, and she said no or something. So I guess they're actually going to break up, but they already had this plan to stay in this cabin for the weekend or whatever.
You're just going to go.
So they just have this. They have this tension, and then on top of that, all the shenanigans happen.
Right. Yeah, good point, man. So with that, guys, great fucking movie. Thumbs up from all of us. Go fucking watch Predator. It's on Hulu right now. If you have Hulu, it's free. Go do yourself a favor. Treat yourself. So
it's brutal, but it's good.
But with this, guys, let's go ahead and lead us over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
And yes, it is true. Michael Jackson is going to be a father. Already, he has hired an entire staff of nannies, nurses, and extra bodyguards, which hopefully will protect the child from Michael Jackson.